What's going on, people? Healing with Sam, episode 5. Hope you're feeling good. Hope you're enjoying the ride. Hope you're about to like and subscribe. So today we're going to interrupt the flow of the story. Last episode we were in France with the Ayurvedic doctor telling me if you want to heal yourself, you will need to love yourself more, and then setting the stage for what was going to be in this episode, the start of that process unfolding with the first ayahuasca journey. But we're going to put a pin in that, come back to that later, because I want to share something that's happening 4 years down the line in the present, something that's happening right now. I feel it makes sense to share that now as it's alive for me. Yeah, so I went for my annual review about a month ago, and my lung function was not good, down, very low, like less than 50%, which is not where you want it to be. So, and the doctor had a very sort of like stern word with me, a very serious chat, like he was, you need to come into hospital, like you need to come in for IV antibiotics, we need to treat you, and blah, 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 like, and I was just like, yeah, nah. Like so far removed from that, as I've spoken to my process over the it's been 8-9 years now since I had IVs. That's been my mindset. I don't need IVs ever again. I'm healing, I'm getting better, blah, blah, blah. Here we are. 4 years of neglecting the physical reality of the disease, not really taking any of my meds, being solely focused on the emotional, spiritual aspect of my healing journey to the detriment of the physical reality. Yeah, not good. So he's like, you need to come into hospital, but it's just I'm so far removed from that, that's just not in my reality at all. That's not even within the realm of possibility for me at that point, so I'm just like, yeah, nah, I'll take some oral antibiotics, but I'm a long way away from sort of conceding, okay, and coming into hospital, And it's crazy as well, because lately I've been feeling super fit, feeling good. Although, I did realize once I started taking the antibiotics, I haven't actually been able to breathe properly, probably for a good while. So I was like, yeah, let's take the orals. We'll see how it goes. And he was like, he just couldn't fathom my mindset. He was just like looking at me like perplexed. He was like, and it was no joke. He was saying like, if you have another drop in lung function like that, then we're starting to look at talking about lung transplants. So, on good, my lung function was like less than 50%. But I was like, all right, let's try the orals and then we'll see where we are. But yeah, it was very sort of harrowing, I was sort of just like, but it hit me, it hit me. I was like, and there's that brush up against death again, the reality of death, and having to confront that and consider that again and be like, wow, okay, And there was a lot of things that come with that. There was a lot of different feelings that come with that. Obviously, there was that fear of dying, that just like tears were flowing. I'm just like, I don't want to die. And then there was all this guilt and anger towards myself, like how could I do that to myself? Like, how have I done this to my body again? Yeah, but it was cool. I managed to flow through all of those emotions nicely and could allow all of those things to come up, that fear of dying. I think, I don't want to die. But whilst it not sort of impacting my overall sort of positive mindset of no, I'm getting through this. I'm going to bring my lung function back up. We're still healing. Let's go. This is just the part of the story where I fucked myself up again. And now I'm on the come up again, back to higher reaches than even last time. So yeah, so started taking the oral antibiotics, and then also a day or two later I had acupuncture off my friend's mother. And then I don't know what it was, but a combination probably of all these things, the antibiotics, the acupuncture, and then also just the motivation that it had given me, once I was very focused again on okay, right, this is serious. I need to, bam, let's go, let's get on this. And so my mind is just firmly rooted on, I'm getting better. So as soon as I wake up, I'm just like, I'm feeling great, I'm alive, I'm in, bam, utilizing the mind in that way, obviously an important factor. And I think a combination of all of those things just, got me to a place where a week later, I felt so much better. My chest felt so much better. I could breathe again. I was like, fuck, I haven't been able to breathe. And so I did my lung function at home a week later, and it had come up quite significantly, considering it had only been a week or so. Not anywhere near where you want it to be still, but it went from like 2.3 to 2.8. I think my best since I've been an adult was like 3.5, and that was like 6-7 years ago when I was doing the triathlon, and I was super, feeling good. And I haven't been anywhere near that for a while. I think the highest I've been in the last few years is about 3.2. And so I got back to 2.8. So, I'm feeling good, and I'm like, well, but then like the week after that, I sort of lost it again. Like, I think the 2 weeks of taking the meds, I was feeling good. And then the acupuncture, I think it was the acupuncture that was responsible for this. Like the morning after the acupuncture, I woke up with just tremendous energy, unlike anything I've felt in years. And just like motivation, power, aggressiveness, assertiveness, just like bam, 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 let's go. And then, I think just the combination of that with all the other things and just the sort of motivation and focus to bring the physical back to where it needs to be. But then after 2 weeks, kind of all of that started to fade a little bit again, and my chest started to feel a little bit again, like tight-chested, a bit short of breath, bit of a cough. And so I was a bit like, oh. And so then I had another hospital appointment then, like a week after that, which was last week. And so I went in, and my lung function was a little bit down from where it was the week before, but higher than it was when I was there before. So it had gone from 2.3 to 2.8 to 2.7. And, I want to be back up to 3.2, 3.3, 3.5 and above and beyond, So, and that 2.7 is only 56% of what it should be, 56% of my lung capacity, of my lung functioning is not enough. I need more than that. Imagine if I had 100, I'd be a beast. So the doctor was like, you need to come into hospital. We need to give this Pseudomonas, which is the bacteria, which is causing all of these issues on my lungs. We need to give that a good blast. You need to come in. And I was just like, oh, yeah, just like, and we had a good conversation about it back and forth. And then she pulled me in with this like analogy. She was like, like Formula One, those supercars, you're like one of them. You're like a supercar, you're amazing, but you just need to come in for a pit stop, that's all. And I was just like, yeah, I'm a supercar, I just need a pit stop. And so I was like, yeah. But then I was just like, I haven't got time, I can't be doing this. Like, I got to work, I've got sessions with people, I got to expand that, build that. Like, this is a time where I'm really trying to expand, get things going. Going into hospital for 2 weeks, that doesn't really work for me right now, And I was saying, could I not just come into hospital to have the drugs 3 times a day and then leave? She was like, no, you need to stay in and get the intensive treatment and blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, that doesn't work for me right now. But I sort of agreed, like, right, give me 2 weeks. I'm going to start taking all of my meds, which I haven't been taking for the last 4 years, get back to that, like consistently taking everything, keep working hard in the gym and everything else, using the mind. Let's see where we're at. And so that will be on Friday. This Friday, they're going to be giving me a ring and saying, what are you saying? Are you coming in? And I think at the end of the day, we create stories in the mind. The story of, I don't need IVs, I'm never having IVs again, served me at a point in time, undoubtedly. Perhaps I'm at a time now where that story doesn't serve me the best. Perhaps what serves me the best right now is just acknowledging the reality of where my body is at. It could do with some IV antibiotics to blast this Pseudomonas on my chest. There's obviously grief involved in that, in the letting go of that story, of that part of your identity, and that's been a big part for the last 9 years and have served me so well. But and maybe it's not so much about letting go of that and letting that die, but just expanding it to make space for just, but sometimes this. Like, it's largely, I don't need IVs, I am healing, but sometimes little pit stop, So I felt okay with it. My immediate sort of like internal compass afterwards, I was thinking like, okay, what's the move? And my instinct was, just do it. Obviously, like, it makes sense. And obviously this comes at a time where there's a broader sort of like focus on the physical components of my being at the minute and looking to really allow that to flourish in all these ways. So if I'm going to do that, I have to be open to everything, not just neglecting certain things. Because this is the issue, obviously, one part of, there's many reasons why I've neglected the physical over the last few years. But one is you throw the baby out with the bathwater, you learn about the shortcomings of Western medicine and science and the corruption and everything, and, you know, whatever, it's easy to then sort of disregard everything. That's foolish, that's stupid. Some things are necessary, some things are good, some things will be useful. Little pit stop. Yeah. So maybe there's an episode coming soon from the hospital bed, perhaps. Not the bed, I won't be lying in bed, but yeah. I can't do it the next couple of weeks anyway. I got a wedding and a festival to do, so it ain't going to be for a few weeks anyway, even if I do. But I think maybe that could be coming in these couple of weeks, or up until the end of this week, see where my lung function's at. I have been feeling good again. Yeah, I don't know, we'll see. But that could be happening, so yeah, that's where we're at. Who knows where next week's episode will be. Maybe we'll go back to 4 years ago, carry on with the story. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what these videos are, you know, I'm just sharing stuff. Like and subscribe. Hope you're all having a wicked one. Take it easy. I'll see you next week. Love.